Iran had a plan, and for a long time that plan was working. Over more than a decade, Tehran constructed what it believed was an unanswerable military strategy, one built around economics rather than raw firepower. Mass-produce tens of thousands of cheap loitering munitions, deploy them in waves too large for conventional air defense, to absorb force defenders to burn through $4 million Patriot interceptors shooting down $50,000 drones until the stockpiles run dry, then send the ballistic missiles through the gaps left behind. The math checked out. It had worked against Saudi Arabia, it had worked against Israel, it had worked against American bases in Iraq and Jordan. The offense was cheap, the defense was ruinously expensive. No one had solved it, almost no one. There was one country that had spent 4 years under live fire doing exactly that, solving exactly that problem. And when that country arrived in the Persian Gulf in the spring of 2026, the outcome was not what Tehran had planned for. Ukraine just showed up. Following the suspension of direct US military aid to Ukraine, American officials reached out to Kyiv for help defending against Iranian drone attacks in the Gulf region. On March 6, 2026, Enriy Kovalenko, head of Ukraine's Center for Countering Disinformation, publicly confirmed the request had been made 2 days. Later, President Volodymyr Zelensky announced that Ukraine would send military experts to the region. On March 9, he dispatched his chief negotiator to begin discussions on the sale of Ukrainian interceptor drones to Gulf states. Within days, 200 Ukrainian specialists were deployed to coordinate air defenses across Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. They worked alongside American personnel to protect US military installations in Jordan. What followed is one of the most consequential and least reported strategic reversals of this entire conflict. Iran spent a decade constructing the world's most effective mass drone offensive capability. Ukraine spent 4 years constructing the world's most effective counter to it. When those two things met in the skies above the Persian Gulf in early 2026, the result was not what Tehran had calculated. To understand why Iran's strategy backfired so completely, you first need to understand why it was so dangerous to begin with, and why every conventional military in the Gulf was genuinely unprepared for it. The Shahed 136 was first publicly revealed around 2021. It gained global attention after Russia began deploying Iranian-supplied versions of the weapon during its invasion of Ukraine in 2022. Moscow received thousands of the drones and eventually began producing its own variants based on Iranian blueprints. This demonstrated the weapon's replicable and scalable design. Over time, analysts noted refinements: anti-jamming antennas and electronic warfare-resistant navigation systems. Updated warhead configurations were added, with some suggesting Iran incorporated lessons drawn from Russia's battlefield experience. By conventional military standards, the Shahed 136 is not sophisticated, it flies slowly, its autopilot is simple. Its unit cost runs between $20,000 and $50,000, a fraction of any Western interceptor missile. But what it lacks individually, it compensates for through volume. You do not send one Shahed, you send hundreds simultaneously from multiple directions at varied altitudes. Staggered timing is specifically designed to saturate any point defense system forced to engage them one at a time. Since the start of what became known as Operation Roaring Lion, Iran unleashed approximately 1,400 ballistic missiles. They launched nearly 4,000 unmanned aerial vehicles across the broader region, striking Israel, the Gulf states, Iraq, Jordan, Oman, Turkey, Cyprus, and Azerbaijan. Lebanon-based forces added more than 400 rockets aimed at Israel. Data released by multiple Gulf governments showed they were facing roughly 3 Iranian drones for every ballistic missile fired. That ratio is not accidental, it is operationally intentional. The drones are not the primary payload, they are the mechanism designed to exhaust the defender's interceptor stockpiles before the ballistic missiles arrive, and the economics of that exchange were initially catastrophically favorable to Iran. The United Arab Emirates had spent enormous sums over the previous decade constructing a layered air defense network built around Patriot and Terminal high-altitude area defense systems. A single Patriot interceptor costs approximately $4 million. A THAAD interceptor runs over $12 million. The systems themselves cost around $1 billion each. Yet even those sophisticated defenses were being stretched thin. The way absorbed the largest volume of Iranian projectiles among Gulf states, 309 missiles and 1,600 UAVs as of March 15. Iran was spending roughly $50,000 to force the way to spend $4 million in response, an exchange ratio of 80-1 in Tehran's favor. That was the trap Iran had designed. Fire enough cheap drones and even the wealthiest air defense networks in the world begin running out of the expensive missiles. Analysts at the Atlantic Council described the situation directly. Gulf countries were at risk of depleting their interceptors unless they became more selective about when to use them. The depletion was not imminent, but it was urgent. Attacks on multiple fronts by Iranian allies could put stockpiles at risk of being consumed within days. That single word captures how close Iran's strategy was to achieving its intended effect. The Gulf states' expensive Western-supplied air defense architecture was being consumed faster than it could be replenished. If Iran could sustain the campaign long enough, the defenders would run out of missiles before Iran ran out of drones. Tehran had studied this. Tehran had prepared for this. For the first time in its military history, Iran had developed an offensive capability that genuinely challenged the most advanced air defense infrastructure. And then Ukraine walked through the door. As Iranian-designed drones filled the skies across an expanding conflict zone, Kyiv emerged as an unlikely source of solutions. Ukraine had spent years defeating Russian-deployed versions of the same weapons. When President Trump was asked by Reuters whether he would accept Ukraine's offer of assistance, he said he would welcome help. That same day, Zelensky confirmed that Kyiv had received a specific, direct request from the United States for help. The United States military, the most powerful in human history, asked Ukraine for help. Let that land before moving forward. Patricia Baziluk, associate director at CSIS, put it plainly. Ukraine has a PAAHDAADDDDHEHE in anti-drone warfare. They have really honed their craft of intercepting drones by many means. That framing is precise. Ukraine has not simply learned to shoot down Shaheds. Ukraine has developed a complete, integrated, cost-effective system for defeating mass drone attacks at scale, built under live combat conditions and refined through millions of operational intercept attempts, tested against the exact same weapons Iran was now deploying across the Gulf. Forced by necessity to defend itself with limited resources, Ukraine built a distributed defense industry from the ground up. Specialists working in garages and engineers at startups experimented in real time. They fed results back into an evolving system that Russia proved unable to match. Ukraine is now operating approximately 10,000 drones every day in its war. In one attack, Ukrainian forces reportedly defeated 309 out of 324 Russian-launched drones. That is a 95.4% intercept rate against the same Shahed-type weapons Iran was firing across the Persian Gulf. Over the winter alone, Russia launched more than 19,000 attack drones at Ukraine. In 2025, Moscow deployed 54,000 Shahed-type drones against Ukrainian territory in a single year. The 200 specialists Zelensky dispatched carry operational experience that cannot be replicated in a simulation. Every failure recorded, every successful intercept analyzed, every technique refined through continuous feedback from active combat over 4 years. The central insight Ukraine brought to the Gulf is deceptively simple. You cannot afford to shoot down cheap drones with expensive missiles. Iran designed its strategy around exactly that constraint. The solution is not a more capable interceptor. The solution is a cheaper one. Ukrainian officials stated it directly. Only cheap drones can effectively counter large numbers of cheap attack drones. Ukrainian interceptor systems are estimated to cost approximately 1,000th the price of a US Patriot missile. A Patriot interceptor costs $4 million. 1,000th of that is $4,000. Ukrainian interceptor drones operate in precisely that price range. These weapons function as kamikaze interceptors armed with a warhead, programmed to pursue and collide with a Shahed or any fixed-wing drone. The P-1 Sun travels at up to 310 kilometers per hour. Its entire airframe antenna, head, wings, payload compartment is 3D printed. This makes it cheap and producible at scale. Ukrainian company representatives stated that their interceptor costs up to 10 times less than a Shahed, $3,000 to $5,000. Against $20,000 to $50,000, this reverses completely and totally the cost-exchange ratio that Iran spent a decade engineering. Iran built a strategy where spending $50,000 forced the defender to spend $4 million. Ukraine's interceptor system spends $4,000 to destroy a $50,000 Shahed. The offense-defense economics flipped. The 80-to-1 cost advantage Iran had designed into its strategy now works against it. Zelensky confirmed it publicly, describing Ukraine's operations in the Gulf region in the past tense, acknowledging that Ukrainian forces had already participated in active intercept operations using domestically produced interceptor drones. Ukrainian military personnel, he revealed, had successfully shot down Iranian Shahed-type drones. That was Kyiv's first public acknowledgement of operational results in the Gulf theater. Ukrainian soldiers, Iranian drones, Persian Gulf, Ukrainian-made interceptors. That is what the convergence of two separate conflicts looks like when it becomes operational reality. The scale of what happened next inside the American military's procurement process is unlike anything the Pentagon has done in decades, and it was only possible because Ukraine had already done the research, the battlefield testing, and the operational validation. The U.S. Army turned to low-cost interceptor drones first proven in Ukraine to counter Iranian-made Shaheds, explicitly aiming to flip the economics of air defense that had long favored attackers using cheap, disposable technology. Army Secretary Dan Riskel told lawmakers during a budget hearing that the service had already begun deploying a system known as the MARAPS and was rapidly scaling production. When the conflict began, within approximately 8 days, the Army purchased 13,000 MARAPS units. Driscoll described a streamlined acquisition process that bypassed what had previously been a years-long multi-agency procurement effort. 8 days, 13,000 units. The United States military, which typically operates on procurement timelines measured in years and sometimes decades, moved that fast because Ukraine had already done the proof of concept work under live combat conditions. The Merup's Interceptor currently costs around $15,000 per unit, with projections to drop below $10,000 at scale, well below the estimated $30,000 to $50,000 cost of most Iranian Shaheds. Developed by US defense firm Perennial Autonomy, formerly known as Project Eagle, the Merups was first deployed by Ukrainian forces in June 2024 against Russian-operated systems including Shaheds. It had since been adopted by NATO allies including Poland and Romania to help defend the alliance's eastern flank. The technology pipeline runs in a straight line from the Ukrainian front line through combat validation directly to Gulf deployment, tested in Ukraine, proven in Ukraine, purchased at scale by the United States in 8 days for use in the Middle East. Analysts reinforced the core lesson: countering mass drone attacks cannot rely primarily on traditional air defense missiles. The decisive factor is not one piece of hardware, it is the broader operational infrastructure: cheap mass-produced interceptors integrated with sensor networks, battle management software, resilient communications, and trained operators capable of functioning in increasingly AI-enabled battle spaces. That complete ecosystem is exactly what Ukraine's 200 specialists brought to the Gulf, not just equipment. The people who know how to use every component of it under pressure against the specific threat Iran had deployed. Iran did not plan for this. Tehran's military planners modeled a conflict against the United States and Israel. They did not model Ukraine walking into the theater carrying for years of specialized counter-Shahed experience, 200 trained operators, and interceptor systems that cost a fraction of everything Iran was firing. Open-source analysis of drone debris and video footage from way strike scenes indicated that a German-to-drone, a Russian-produced variant derived from the Iranian Shahed 136, may have been used during the March 2026 operations. Serial markings suggested the system originated from Russia's Kupol manufacturing plant and incorporated Russian modifications, including the Kometa MJAM-resistant navigation system. This finding carries a significant implication. The drone cooperation between Iran and Russia, which began as a one-directional arrangement, Iran supplying Shaheds to Moscow after 2022, appears to be evolving into a reciprocal exchange. Russia supplied Iran with an upgraded, jam-resistant version of the weapon Iran originally gave Russia, two interlocking loops of drone technology, one connecting Tehran and Moscow, the other connecting Kyiv and the Gulf, converging on the same airspace. The U.S. intelligence community noted in March that selective cooperation among China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea is helping those states offset American pressure. European allies have separately told American diplomats that they see Russia as materially supporting Iran more than Washington has publicly acknowledged. Those same allies increasingly view the Iran conflict and the Ukraine war not as separate events but as intertwined theaters of a single connected strategic competition. The chain that produced this moment is worth tracing in full. Iran gave Russia the Shahed to use against Ukraine. Ukraine spent 4 years learning to defeat the Shahed. Iran then deployed it against the Gulf. Ukraine then deployed the defeat system to the Gulf, and the Gulf is now investing in the Ukrainian program that Iran's own weapon forced Ukraine to develop. The full circle is one of the most extraordinary strategic ironies in modern conflict. In exchange for Kyiv's expertise and active participation, Ukraine received concrete returns. Zelensky outlined several categories. In some cases, Gulf partners provided interceptor systems to help protect Ukrainian energy infrastructure. In others, there were direct financial arrangements. There were also supplies of oil and diesel crude oil delivered to refineries in Europe for processing, as well as finished fuel products. Ukraine arrived in the Gulf as an expertise provider. It is leaving through ongoing agreements with fuel, funding, and equipment that directly supports its own war effort against Russia. A Saudi Arabian defense firm signed a deal to purchase Ukrainian-made interceptor missiles. Saudi oil company Aramco entered negotiations to buy counter-drone interceptors from Ukrainian companies Skyfall and Wild Hornets. The Way's defense minister described Ukraine's experience and technical knowledge as very welcome and forthcoming. He added, "Through this Iranian aggression, we can clearly see where we need to protect ourselves." 3 Gulf countries have now signed defense agreements with Ukraine. The Gulf Cooperation Council, home to some of the deepest sovereign wealth pools on Earth, is channeling resources into Ukrainian drone technology development. Iran's drone campaign was designed to destabilize the Gulf states and demonstrate the limits of American protection. Instead, it turned those same Gulf states into active investors in the system built to defeat Iranian drones. Zelensky described receiving requests for assistance from 11 countries, including the United States, European states, and Middle Eastern nations. His message was direct: stability matters to Ukraine too. Those who now want Ukraine's help should continue helping Ukraine defend itself. Ukrainian officials have also offered to share their experience with Strait of Hormuz operations, specifically their institutional knowledge from keeping Black Sea shipping lanes open under constant Russian attack. Ukraine, which had no navy at the start of the war, used armed surface drones, coastal artillery, and coordinated air assets to drive Russia's Black Sea fleet out of positions it had held for years. That same strategic framework is now being offered to address the world's most consequential maritime choke point crisis. Ukrainian military officers who arrived in the Gulf also identified specific operational errors in how American and Gulf state forces had been defending themselves, not tactical miscalculations, but a fundamental strategic economic error, firing million-dollar missiles at $50,000 drones. Ukraine had made that same error years earlier. It had recognized it, corrected it, and built the solution under live combat pressure. The Gulf states were repeating it for the first time at scale while under active attack. Ukraine's specialists identified the pattern immediately because they had lived through it. Russia did extract one genuine benefit from Iran's regional escalation. Disruptions to Gulf oil flows elevated global crude prices, increasing Russian export revenues and indirectly subsidizing Moscow's war effort in Ukraine. That secondary gain was real. But Russia's primary strategic hope that Iran's drone swarms would drain Western air defense stockpiles, expose American vulnerability, and shift the broader strategic balance has been substantially undermined by the Ukrainian intervention. The economics Iran designed to win have been reversed. The stockpile depletion crisis that threatened Gulf states within days has been addressed. And the operational expertise that should have been Iran's unique asymmetric advantage, deep knowledge of Shahed-type drone warfare, turned out to be a capability Ukraine possessed in greater depth than any other nation on Earth. The lesson being written in real time in the skies above the Persian Gulf will be studied in military academies for a generation. Iran built the most cost-effective offensive drone strategy in modern military history: mass production, mass deployment, economic asymmetry engineered to overwhelm any conventional defense. For years, no military had a complete answer. The Gulf states' sophisticated, expensive air defense systems were genuinely struggling. The financial math was genuinely unsustainable. Ukraine had the answer, not because it is wealthier than the United States or better resourced than the Gulf states, because it was forced by necessity, under fire, over 4 years of continuous combat to solve the exact problem Iran's strategy was designed to create, and it built the solution piece by piece, under conditions no simulation or defense contractor could replicate. Building an effective defense against mass drone warfare requires a coordinated ecosystem: cheap mass-produced interceptors, sensor networks, battle management software, resilient communications, and trained operators. Ukraine's combat record proves that the hardware alone is insufficient. The complete system, including the human knowledge embedded in the people who built and operated it under fire, is what makes it work. Iran planned its campaign as a trap designed to drain American resources, exhaust Gulf air defenses, demonstrate the fragility of US-aligned states, and shift the strategic balance of the conflict in Tehran's favor. Instead, it revealed to the world the most advanced counter-drone capability in existence. It created new strategic partnerships that simultaneously strengthened Ukraine and the Gulf states. It redirected Gulf sovereign investment toward the exact system built to defeat Iranian weapons. And it demonstrated in live operations over active conflict zones that the economic model Iran designed around decades of planning can be reversed by a country that spent for years being forced, without resources or alternatives, to figure out exactly how. Iran spent a decade building the trap. Ukraine spent for years, without intending to, building the way out of it. 200 Ukrainian specialists deployed to the Persian Gulf. Iranian Shaheds shot down by Ukrainian interceptors, costing 1,000th of a Patriot missile. The U.S. Army purchasing 13,000 Ukraine-validated interceptors in 8 days. Saudi Arabia signing defense deals with Ukrainian manufacturers. Gulf sovereign wealth flowing into Ukrainian drone programs. And Iran's decade-long drone strategy designed to drain Western defenses, encountering the one country on Earth that had spent 4 years learning precisely how to defeat it. Iran built the weapon. Ukraine built the answer. The world is watching the answer work.